I'm Barbara Ashworth and I've just been interviewed by Keith Andrew. Really enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Today on the KeithAndrewNetWork, we sit down with professional, upcoming actress Barbara Ashworth. That's right, Barbara Ashworth on the KeithAndrewNetWork. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And as I always say, thank you for watching the KeithAndrewNetWork, and I will catch you later. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them you can still amount to something. With that being said, it's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And the first question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do today.
Well, I started in 1988 and it was on stage in a musical. It wasn't a speaking part, it was just singing. And that was because I needed to make new friends after I'd moved house. So I joined a local amateur theatrical group and we did a beautiful musical called Kismet. And I played a harem girl. Not that I would be able to do that now, but it was fun then. And I had a much better figure and everything else. And I was a lot younger, so that was really fun. I got a taste for the stage then. And I did Oliver. And I also did a Gilbert and Sullivan musical, which I absolutely loved. The costumes, the music, everything, that was fantastic. So then when my husband decided to get homesick for our hometown of Burnley, we came back and I joined another group that did lesser known musicals. One of them was Anne of Green Gables, the musical. And I didn't even know that Anne of Green Gables was a musical, or could be, but that was fun. Definitely trying to do an American accent and failing miserably, but it was a great musical to do. Should have been doing Chicago. We were going to be the first group to do that. But unfortunately, somebody had been taking out the money that we used to fund the society. So unfortunately, it closed down. Didn't do anything for a good number of years and then went to see a friend who was in an American play called The Apple Cart. And I'd not been to a sort of in the round play where it was on three sides. And I thought it was fantastic how they'd learnt the accents and all the words. It was fascinating. So I went backstage afterwards to congratulate them. And the director said, do you fancy playing a pirate? Yeah, why not? I said, well, we've got some panto that we're doing a panto this year, pantomime. Great, yep, why not? So that was an excuse to get all dressed up in tatty clothes, multiple colours. Started off the week with just a little bit of stubble to look like a man. And then we ended up with scars and black eyes and black teeth. And by the end of the week, it was brilliant. So I did a few more pantomimes and joined the society to do the plays as well. And that was my introduction to stage plays.
No, absolutely. No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to get to the next question, but go ahead.
Well, once I'd done that, I did that for a good number of years with the society. And then because of ill health, I had to stop performing for a while. And then about 7 years ago, I decided, well, because of ill health through work, I got carbon monoxide poisoning, which wasn't very pleasant. It was over a 4-year period, so that made me quite ill. And my husband said, well, just leave and go and do something you fancy doing. So I went to be an extra, a sporting artist, and loved watching how everything was done, watching the actors, how they filmed it, how they positioned everything. It was brilliant. So that gave me a taste for being in front of camera. And I went to a local academy, not a big academy like RADA or anything like that. It was just a local one. But it got me out of moving about so much, being on stage. It's totally different in front of camera. So I did that and thoroughly enjoyed that. Got all the foundation, the masterclass, the workshops, everything. It was wonderful. And in the meantime, I did some student films and built up my network. And I'm now waiting for 3 features, well, 1 feature and 2 TV series to start. I've only got relatively small parts in those, but it's getting me out there. And I'm just done rehearsals for a short film that I'm in at the end of June, which is a very emotional, based on a true story short film. So I'm looking forward to doing my best with that because I know the director and it's her it's her story, a relative of hers. So yeah, it's just building up from there, I think.
No, absolutely. Now, the other question I want to ask you, it's because you're in both 2 cousins. First one is, a lot of people say I don't get acting roles because of my accent. First off, I think that's a load of BS. If you have an accent, I think that's a great asset to say, hey, I have something someone else does, but doesn't have. And just because you have an accent doesn't mean you can't have, an acting role. You look at Hugh Jackman, you look at Hugh Grant, you look at Hugh Laurie, you look at Russell Crowe, Kristen Bale. They have accents, but they can hide it. And sometimes, the accents do come out, who cares, big whoop. But if you can the biggest thing is if you can entertain the audience and the audience is behind you, that's all that really matters. They don't care if your accent shows here and there. All that matters is you fit the part and you fit the character. Minor BS and details, they don't really matter. But people just like to talk and gossip about a little of everything.
That's very true.
Absolutely. And now the other question I want to ask you is during your time in quarantine, because, as England and the United States and other countries have been locked down, has this given you any opportunity to reflect on your career and say, you know what, this is a perfect opportunity to try something else?
Yes. In a word, I joined a group called the Caravan Group, well, amongst others, but this one in particular. And that opened the door to doing lots of Zoom meetings where we were reading plays. And it's grown so much that we now record the plays. Sometimes we do it as a YouTube evening. We play them back, or we actually read them in the group on Zoom. We read new material mainly so that the writers can get a feel for how the material is going to look, especially if they want to put it on stage. But also recording monologues. And I set myself a YouTube channel. Not many subscribers, but there's one out there now. And the other thing I did, I changed, my hair colour changed. It was dark before the beginning of 2020. But I had a problem with my hair. I had something called female patterned baldness or hair loss. And it was a big problem at the time. And I got a new hairdresser who helped me to get the hair back, use the right products and develop it back. But I stayed I had to wear a wig for a while and it was blonde. And everybody kept saying, you really suit blonde hair. Why don't you keep it like that? So when my hair grew back, I kept it as blonde. But I needed a new show reel. So fortunately, in between one of the 2 lockdowns in last year, I was able to get a show reel done. And there were 4 scenes, and each one different: a homeless woman, a nun, a prisoner, and a solicitor. And fantastic day it was, doing all those different characters in one day. but I did get a show reel out of it, and with the right hair colour. So yes, it's been an eventful year.
Absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about social media and disabilities. And then we'll pass the show over to you when we come back. Commercial break. The first thing I want to promote is HB Gibson. If you're into entertainment, interviews, and funny skits, definitely check out HB Gibson. If you're into Life of a Fighter, eating, drinking, and working out, definitely check out Life of a Fighter. And make sure to subscribe to the KeithAndrewNetWork. We have a bunch of great challenges, from the Dumbo Challenge to the Human Pyramid Challenge. We have some great comedians. We have some great upcoming professional actors and some great content. So just make sure to like and subscribe as well. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is disabilities. With everything that you accomplish in your life, have you worked with people with disabilities? And trying to change it up. I don't want to sound like an oxymoron, like saying, are you willing to work with people with disabilities? So I'm trying to change it to, have you worked with people with disabilities? And for people with learning disabilities or any type of disabilities who want to follow in your footsteps, what would be some of your words of advice?
Okay. Yes, I have worked with people with disabilities, excuse me. My mum was disabled. She had a chronic illness that caused her to be disabled. So that was for 13 years in my, from being about 10 up until 1983 when she passed away. So being with a disabled person was nothing new to me. And, you know, I absolutely admire anybody that has a disability that strives for what they want and goes out and gets it. Like yourself, you know, do it. There's nothing to stop you. And if anybody doesn't particularly like it, then they're missing out, aren't they? It's sad for them, not for you. I was born totally blind, and I had 6 operations before I was 6 weeks old. And I got sight in one eye, but not in the other. And I've never known anything any different. So I've never let it stop me doing anything. Occasionally it's been a problem for peripheral vision, but so long as the people know, then they know how to react to it. People with mental illnesses, I've known quite a few of those. I've worked with some of them. Friends with mental illness. It's so common, and yet it's not really talked about, and it should be. But, you know, more than it is. Or Prince Harry, for instance, he's coming out and talking about his mental illness. And although it does seem to be all over the media all the time, at least he's a public figure and he can get people to listen to him. Whereas somebody just next door or wherever can't get that acceptance or people to listen the same. So yeah, I am fully backing of people with disabilities coming into acting or anything, really.
You know, I agree. You know, you talk about Prince Harry coming out about, I didn't know he had disabilities. But, you know, you look at Donald Trump, you know, he doesn't have anybody sort of hell acts like he sort of does.
Mm.
I know, bad joke. But
oh, no, we had plenty of him, don't worry.
Actually, while we're on the subject of Donald Trump, because I like to hear people's opinions, you know, in Canada, you know, people say they like him, they hate him. Over in England, what's your opinion? And you can be brutally honest.
a jerk, pompous ass, lots of other expletives. But we could be here all night with all the expletives, but he didn't come across as genuine. He came across as just wanting to run the country as a business, his business, not for anybody else. Making some really strange decisions. And his public speaking left a lot to be desired. You know, it was all the same mannerisms and the looks and everything. It wasn't good.
Would you agree? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we just got fed up of hearing about him and seeing him and hearing his voice.
Would you agree or disagree that he has the mannerisms of a dictator?
Definitely.
Or a fascist?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It was how he did end up controlling people with the way that he put himself across. But in that way, it was wrong. It wasn't sort of getting people to understand what he was saying. He was just telling them what they needed to hear and what they had to believe. And unfortunately, a lot of people did.
No, I agree. You know, in New York City, have Mayor Blasio and Cuomo. You know, I used to like Cuomo. I said when this whole thing started, he should be president. He's doing a good job. And like I said, PG-13, but it is uncensored. All this shit came out. What he did was the nursing home, and then there was something else, and now he reopened. I get it that we need the economy open. We need people working again. That's fine, whatever. But you have to be smart about it. You can have the economy open. I give you an example of what I'm talking about. There's a baseball game that my brother wanted to go to. And they're like, okay, this side of the arena will be for people who are vaccinated. And this side of the arena are people who are not vaccinated. I went, okay, that's fine. Because you're social distancing. However, what if you have to go to the pisser and you want to go or to the woo, I'm sorry, and you want to get some food, again, the sun make you laugh. But I'm just saying, you want to go to the bathroom or get some food. Everyone's got to be together, and if you're not going to be distance, it's kind of like, it doesn't make any sense. So I get it. You want everything to go back to normal, but you have to be really smart about it.
Yeah.
You can't fix stupid, even though you can numb it with a 2x4.
We're the same here. They've started allowing people into venues. It's sort of controlled. They may not have been vaccinated, but they've all done tests before they go in. They do a test when they come out. Why that is, I've no idea. But it's wrong, really, to have so many people all together. And unfortunately, we've got a couple of new variants of the virus now, particularly the Indian one, and it's spreading in different areas. Probably about 20 miles away from me, it's really rife. And they're doing a mass vaccination now, a surge vaccination, where they're getting people to queue up in the streets just to get the vaccination done, more or less regardless of age. So I don't know. I'd love it to be all back to normal. I'd love it to be big venues where I can go and watch the theatre in relative safety and bands and whatever. But I just think we've gone so far. Let's not push it all back again, because everybody's fed up of lockdowns. Everybody's fed up of feeling miserable, especially when the weather's miserable as well. But, like you say, be sensible about it.
No, I agree. Now, the last question I want to ask you is I want you to be brutally honest, because honest is always the best remedy. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And also, what do you recommend to other people?
Yeah. The way that you contacted me, I then did a bit of research, which I think anybody should do really when they get contacted by someone new. And I watched a couple of your other talk shows, and I was impressed. So I thought, yeah, I'll do this. But unfortunately, things kept getting in the way, as it does. Different things, life in general. But yes, you made me feel very comfortable. I've enjoyed talking to you. I just hope I haven't rabbited on too long. But yes, and I would recommend you to anybody else. I've been reading the recommendations that you've had over the years. My goodness, you've had a lot of good recommendations. So it says it all, really.
Absolutely. And for the record, it is real. And for people who when I approach say, oh, it might be a scam. This is not a scam. I've been doing this for almost 8 years. I want to do this to the day I'm 6 feet under. And this is what I do. I have recommendations that, like you said, go back to 2014, going back to 15. I have over, thanks to you, 835 episodes. Oh, it might be fake, fake news. But it's kind of like
that post.
No, I agree. And there's solid proof. I have the videos, I have the recommendations. If you can't, okay, you could make that all up if you wanted to, but why would you? But the last thing I want to do is last 4 minutes. I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay.
So how can our fans and listeners get in touch with you? And was there anything you wanted to ask me? It's just your time.
Right. Okay. Well, Facebook generally is Barbara Ashworth. That's just Barbara Ashworth, and you'll see the picture hopefully come up, one of the first ones, hopefully. The YouTube channel that I mentioned is Barbara Ashworth /actress, because I like the old school actress as opposed to actor. It's just me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, but you're asking me the contacts for those two, and I haven't got them in front of me. But maybe you could mention them when I send them to you.
No, absolutely. Don't worry, it's all going to be in the description. So I will have your Instagram, Twitter. As soon as you type your name in, it should automatically pop up.
Yeah.
So was there any subjects you wanted to talk about real fast?
Well, just to say, if anybody wants to subscribe to the YouTube channel, I might get up to 30 eventually. But yeah, and any sort of comments would be welcome, providing they're not too bad. Because it was all a learning curve last year, for sure. I just think that what I would say to anybody who is interested in acting is to make inquiries first. I started off as an extra, and that drew me in. You could start off that, or just find a local acting academy or acting group and go along and see what they do, whether it's stage or TV and film, and just be open about it. Just don't be too nervous. You're going to be nervous, but don't let it get to you. Just go and have fun. Watch what the other people do, talk to the other people, how they started out, and it will develop from there. If you feel that that's something you want to try out, go and try it. If it doesn't work, doesn't matter. There's always something else.
Yep, absolutely. Now, wrapping up our talk show, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. I just want to say thank you very much, and for our fans out there, catch you later.